Morning, Glory America. Bonjour, hi, Canada. Good Tuesday morning to you. I'm Hugh inside a chilly Beltway. Hope you're off to a good Tuesday. We have very few days left until Christmas, so I hope you are getting ready to make merry with your family and friends. I want to begin today, and I'm going to spend most of my time talking about Donald Trump's press conference yesterday. But I want to begin with a big question, one that I devoted an entire column to over at foxnews.com this morning, because I'm intrigued and I want to know what you think. The baseline facts are these. President-elect Trump was President-elect Trump before. When he was President-elect Trump in 2016 and early 2017, his approval rating was 40%. Now he's President-elect in 2024 and will be in early 2025, and his approval rating is at 55%. So 40% in 2016, 55% in 2024. 40% 8 years ago, 55% today. Now, 55% may be the start, it may be a high water mark, or it may be the ceiling for Donald Trump. I don't know. I know, though, that we have an apples to apples comparison. Though I did not use apples-to-apples polling to get there. I had to use Gallup and Pew. But as I dug into the column for Fox News, I wanted to make sure that I was asserting the correct thing. And it is widely true that 8 years ago, Donald Trump's approval rating was 40%. He climbed up the ladder in the face of John Brennan and James Comey and Jim Clapper and Russia, and all legacy media. He climbed up to 49%. Approval in January of 2020, right before COVID hit, or the China virus, as he called it yesterday during his press conference. And after that, his numbers sagged, and then they fell precipitously after he lost and after January 6th. And then they began to climb again in November of 2022 when he declared for president. And today, after winning, it's at 55%. So my question, and I asked you yesterday of a very smart friend in the Beltway I was having lunch with, I said, why did he go from 40% to 55%? Same guy, he's president-elect again, he's not carrying the baggage, it's kind of like a new presidency, but it's not, because we know a lot. And I came up with three possible answers. And I put them all in the column, but I'll share them with you. Number one, he's not Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, right? So that helps. He's not Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. Everyone can see in front of them the consequences of electing a Democrat, especially an infirm, an old Democrat or a West Coast left-wing Democrat. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have almost certainly helped Donald Trump. But that doesn't make a lot of sense because we were coming off of President Obama. President Obama was not exactly the uniter-in-chief. He was the divider-in-chief, but even he had a 58% approval rating when he left office. Joe Biden's approval rating today is 37%. It's going to drop because of Hunter Biden and the other shenanigans they're up to. But my first answer is, look, he's just not. A whole bunch of people, millions of people realize now, because they've had 4 years of Joe Biden, that it really does matter who's president, and we're not going to buy it. Number two, a lot of the 40% number was referred pain. Now, you know what referred pain is. It's when you've hurt your knee, but your ankle hurts. Or you've hurt your shoulder, but you can't squeeze your hand. Or your neck hurts, and it's really because you're walking funny because you pulled your back. Referred pain is pain that is located somewhere not connected to the actual immediate cause in your body. It's referred from somewhere else. Well, America absorbed in 2016 a lot of referred pain from elite media, Manhattan Beltway legacy media. And more than pain, anger and fear. I was on the NBC News panel floor the night of election coverage in 2016 in 30 Rock, And the panel was myself and James Carville. We were the partisan commentators. Chuck Todd, Lester Holt, Savannah Guthrie, Tom Brokaw. And throughout the night, and indeed the early afternoon throughout the night, we were watching everyone expect, and it was widely regarded that Hillary Clinton was going to win. And the expectation was that Hillary Clinton was going to win. And everyone was certain she was going to win, and doggone it, she was supposed to win. Because these people in that room wanted her to win. I may have been the only person at 30 Rock who voted for Donald Trump. And I only did it on the day of the election. I waited until the last day, because I was on the fence. But I voted for him. There was that Supreme Court opening, the Neil Gorsuch justice opening. It was the Scalia seat, Justice Scalia. So I voted for him. Well, what I saw that night was the 5 stages of grief, beginning with anger and denial. And it just went on from there. And that anger and that pain and that shock, like a sound wave or a tsunami of noise, washed over the room and then left it quiet, and everyone was just stunned and mad. And that spread across legacy Manhattan Beltway media, and it never left. It got worse. It amplified. It grew in volume and intensity. And so that referred pain got in, and they were afraid. They actually persuaded themselves Donald Trump was either completely corrupt or was an autocrat, and that, I don't know what, they persuaded themselves to panic. And that panic got into the 40%. So people were afraid and stunned, and he's not Joe Biden. Those are the 2 reasons, but it's not the major reason. Yesterday's press conference actually embodied the major reason. Donald Trump is an optimist. He feeds on superlatives. He is a big character. He fills every room, and he genuinely believes he's the best person for this job, and he genuinely believes that America is a great place and that get out of its way and it will be fine and will boom, and the Trump economy will come back, and we'll dump the regs, and we'll extend the tax cuts, and we'll rebuild the military. He genuinely believes. And yesterday's presser, which was a tour de force, I hope you watched the whole thing. I watched the entire thing yesterday afternoon. I didn't watch it live. I watched it before I went on News Nation with Leland Vittert. And I thought to myself, this is really a man at ease with himself. He knows exactly what he's getting into. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He's very comfortable going after what he wants done. He's very comfortable criticizing people who get in his way and promoting people who help him. He's just absolutely persuaded that the country is going to have a great 4 years. Now, I don't know if we're going to have a great 4 years. I have been listening to Land of Hope by a wonderful professor. You know this book. If you're watching on the Salem News Channel, it's by Wilfred McClay. And it's probably the single best volume on America's story, Land of Hope. And I've been reading it because I'm going to teach it to my law students in the spring. And I have read before, and I'm rereading it and listening to it. Land of Hope is the fact that for all of its bumps and bruises, all of its scars and terrible history, America is the best place to be born in history. America 2024. You'd rather, if you could pick, hey, God, I want to be born in a certain place in a certain year. If you knew everything and you had to pick before 2024 and before, you'd say, put me down on planet Earth in December 2024. Because that's the greatest place in the world. In fact, that's the greatest place in history. And Donald Trump gets that. And it came through yesterday, and he's absolutely confident of his ability to get done what he wants to get done, and he knows of whom he speaks. He knows all the world leaders. He knows how he's already kind of getting loosened up in the bullpen, been throwing some warm-up over in France, been talking to Bibi. He's been meeting with all of the senators. He went to the Army-Navy game. He had Speaker Johnson on one side. He had incoming Majority Leader John Thune on the other side. Republicans are in control of everything. There is no Russia, Russia, Russia. He's not going to get ambushed again by Comey and Brennan and Clapper. He is in the saddle, and he feels great about it. And that is why his approval rating is at 55%. It helps not to be Joe Biden? Absolutely, 100%. It helps that the media isn't stunned and angry and trying to kill him in the first week. That helps. But mostly it helps because the American people see a confident, happy, upbeat president. And that's usually good for a few points. In this case, it's good for 15, from 40% to 55%.